Be prepared. The sky isn't whispering this time, it's cracking. The Lyrids don't shimmer into view. They hit. Sudden. Blunt. Electric. This isn't some cosmic light show to admire. It's an energetic breach that doesn't ask if you're ready. You're not watching from the sidelines. You're in it. Right where the impact lands. The shift has already begun. If your thoughts have felt like they're moving ahead of your mouth, if your skin is catching static from things no one else can see, it's not stress, it's signal. You're sinking to something older than logic and far more precise than timing. And the frequency doesn't wait for your permission. It arrives. Fully formed. Demanding. You may have noticed your emotions flaring without warning. Your focus snapping between dimensions. A strange tightness in the chest when nothing's wrong. That's not a glitch. It's calibration. The psychic field around you is shaking itself loose, and your body, whether it understands or not, is already responding. The Lyrids aren't gentle. They don't make space. They force it. And what they activate is what you've been hiding. You might feel people reacting differently to you, backing off, bristling, questioning your presence. That's not social tension. That's frequency misalignment. You're not being too much. You're becoming undeniable. And as this current moves faster, you'll start noticing things that don't fit anymore. Words you can't say. Roles you can't play. Plans that used to feel solid now feel suffocating. This isn't instability. It's recognition. The truth is rising, and the timeline that fits it is demanding your full attention. This moment doesn't wait. The sky has already spoken. The only question left is whether you're still pretending not to hear it. You don't observe this energy. It observes you. It moves through the air like a divine surveillance system, not seeking to entertain but to expose. The Lyrids are not decoration. They are scanners. They pass not to be admired but to detect every false imprint left inside you. This isn't stargazing, it's soul reading. Each streak across the sky is a blade, and every blade cuts with precision. It doesn't hesitate. It doesn't negotiate. It slices through hesitation, through illusion, through every mask you've convinced yourself was necessary for survival. If there are layers you've been using to soften your truth, they won't survive this frequency. Not now. Not under this kind of light. This energy doesn't arrive asking questions. It already knows the answers. And it's not interested in what you present, only in what you've hidden. The mask you put on to stay agreeable, the voice you used to be accepted, the silence you've swallowed to avoid being seen too clearly, all of it is under review. The Lyrids don't care about the identity you curated. They scan what's underneath. And if you haven't dropped the performance willingly, this light will rip it away without permission. You may have already felt the effect. Awkward moments where you speak but can't recognize the voice coming out. Sudden tension in rooms that used to feel safe. A strange sense that people are reading you more accurately than you're ready for. These aren't random feelings. They're symptoms of exposure. You're being scanned. You're being decoded. Not later, now. When this light lands, it brings with it a frequency that truth responds to instantly. Lies become unbearable. Half-truths fall apart mid-sentence. Conversations turn sharp without warning because something inside you no longer tolerates distortion. And it's not about morality. It's about frequency. Falsehood simply can't hold shape in this air. It collapses under contact. For nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest, Luke 8 verse 17. You're not just watching prophecy unfold. You're becoming part of its proof. And the proof always begins with exposure. The kind that feels like a stripping away, like being unmasked in slow motion with nowhere to hide. Not to shame you, but to free you. Because everything that's been concealed, even from yourself, is being summoned to the surface. This isn't punishment. It's precision. The Lyrids are here to force alignment between who you say you are and who you actually are. And if those two are still divided, the space between them will start to ache. That ache isn't a mistake. It's the moment of decision. You can't fake your way through this kind of scan. You either stand in your real frequency or get pulled apart by the resistance. Don't be surprised if relationships shift without explanation. If you feel pushed away from what used to feel like home. That's what happens when the light gets inside and finds parts of you that were never meant to be molded. The truth doesn't always come with comfort. But it always comes with clarity. And clarity is what this moment demands. The Lyrids didn't come to confirm your image. They came to confront your essence. And if you're willing to let go of the mask, what remains will be something far more solid than perfection. It'll be real. And real is the only thing this light can carry forward. This isn't nostalgia. It's recall. What stirs inside you now isn't the memory of a childhood sky. It's older. It comes from a place beneath the calendar, beneath language, beneath your name. When the Lyrids pass overhead, they don't trigger awe, they awaken memory. Not the kind stored in photographs or birthdays, but the kind written in soul code. You don't remember watching this before. You remember knowing it was coming. There's a strange certainty rising inside you now, and it doesn't need explanation. It feels like déjà vu stretched across lifetimes. Like you've been waiting for this exact sky long before you had a body to look up with. These aren't shooting stars. They're signals. They're messengers from a part of yourself you've spent years trying to mute. And now, they're speaking louder than ever, bypassing logic and unlocking layers of self that don't fit inside time. This isn't about wonder. It's about activation. The Lyrids don't entertain. They ignite. When you see them streak across the atmosphere, what you're really seeing is a moment of fracture, a crack in the veil between what's seen and what's been suppressed. These stars aren't random. They are soul keys, each one shaped to match a part of you that has been locked, waiting. And the locks are opening. You may feel a flood of emotions with no storyline to follow. A deep longing without a name. Visions that come half-formed but leave your chest burning. That's not imagination. That's soul memory pushing through the cracks. Something in you is surfacing that doesn't belong to this version of your life. It belongs to the thread that's carried you across timelines, across dimensions, across silence. Ancient astrologers didn't call the Lyrids beautiful. They called them thresholds. They marked them as moments when the veil between worlds thinned so much that the illusion of separation collapsed. This wasn't superstition. It was precision. Because even now, as the sky splits with light, your body knows, this isn't just a meteor shower. It's a call to remember. And what you're being asked to remember can't be Googled, can't be fact-checked, can't be proven to anyone. It lives in your bones. In the way your breath changes when you look at the sky tonight. In the way a sound or name or place suddenly feels more like a reunion than a coincidence. This is soul recognition, and it's not polite or soft. It grabs you. It cracks you. It reminds you that you came here with a pattern already written inside you, and the Lyrids are here to pull it to the surface. You might feel your dreams shift, becoming louder, more symbolic. You might find yourself waking up at strange hours with a sentence in your mind you didn't think of. Don't dismiss it. Don't rationalize it away. These are not random glitches. These are fragments of memory unlocking through contact with an ancient rhythm. The stars are not distant. They're inside you. They always have been. This moment doesn't want your intellect. It wants your remembrance. And the longer you try to categorize what's happening as coincidence or emotion, the more distorted the signal becomes. The Lyrids aren't here to be analyzed. They're here to be felt. Fully. Fiercely. Without translation. So if something in you stirs tonight, if you feel grief without a cause, hope without a plan, or the undeniable sense that you're being pulled into alignment with something far older than your personality, trust it. That's the recall. That's the part of you waking up that doesn't speak in language, but in light. You're not reacting to the Lyrids. You're returning to them. Because the part of you that knows this sky has been waiting for far longer than your mind can comprehend. And tonight, it's no longer waiting. This is where the separation becomes visible. Not between good and bad, but between ready and not yet. For the trained, this is ignition, fast, focused, electric. For the unprepared, it's spiritual vertigo. It spins you before you can speak. It pulls up everything you haven't dealt with and throws it at your nervous system all at once. This isn't cruelty. It's contact. And contact reveals capacity. If you've been doing the work, the unseen kind, the daily dying to false patterns, the silent realignments no one applauded, you'll feel it immediately. The pulse. The push. The sudden clarity where there was only fog last week. This isn't a test anymore. It's activation. Your system recognizes the frequency. It stops resisting and starts responding. The energy isn't foreign, it's familiar. Because you've already prepared the landing strip inside you. But if you haven't, this moment doesn't pause to explain. It will fry circuits. It will overload your thoughts. It will scramble your sleep, distort your timing, disorient your sense of control. And even that isn't punishment, it's precision. Because everything false has to go. Not next month. Not later. Now. And when your internal systems aren't clear, the energy won't wait, it will surge. You may feel dizzy for no reason. Heavy 1 minute, electric the next. You might feel like you're on the edge of something but can't describe what. You're not broken. You're just coming online. And like every system that boots up under new programming, there's a little shaking first. The noise is part of the upgrade. The friction is part of the fusion. You are not malfunctioning, you are reconfiguring. The stars in their courses fought against Sisera. Judges 5 verse 20. This isn't poetic flourish. It's a reminder that the sky is not passive. It doesn't just move, it participates. It takes sides. And right now, it's aligning with everything inside you that's real. It's fighting against everything that's counterfeit. The heavens are not distant spectators. They are weapons in divine sequence. And they don't miss. So if you feel like something's after you, like the pressure is increasing, like decisions are being forced, that's not an attack. That's exposure. That's the timing cracking open and showing you who you are under heat. Because heat doesn't lie. It purifies. And this light, this frequency, this motion across the sky, it's not neutral. It amplifies whatever is already in you. That's why the trained feel strength, and the unprepared feel chaos. But here's what you need to know, overwhelmed doesn't mean unworthy. Shaken doesn't mean unchosen. If you're on edge, if your emotions are louder than usual, if your boundaries are fraying, you're not failing. You're activating. Slowly. Sharply. Irrevocably. What you're feeling isn't confusion. It's the force of spiritual gravity pulling your fragments into alignment. You've been scattered long enough. This moment is calling you back into one piece. And there's no going back. Once the frequency enters, it doesn't leave. It lingers. It rewires. It invites you to either rise or retreat, but it won't carry you both ways. You decide. But know this, readiness isn't about perfection. It's about willingness. The heavens don't demand flawlessness. They demand truth. And truth doesn't wait for comfort. This is ignition. And ignition is messy, blinding, destabilizing, until it locks in. And once it locks in, you won't just feel different. You'll move differently. Speak differently. Draw new outcomes toward you just by existing in alignment. That's not a gift. That's a result. The energy doesn't lie. It multiplies what's already inside you. And now, it's your move. You'll feel things fall. Not just above you, but inside you, and the timing will be exact. As the meteors streak through the sky, so too will certain constructs in your life begin to loosen, then break. And it won't always come with a warning. One moment you're holding it all together, the next something slips, a thought, a person, a plan. And it doesn't come back. Because it's not meant to. You might notice a conversation that once grounded you now feels hollow. A role you played for years suddenly starts to itch like a costume. You may feel a belief you once swore by begin to dissolve under your breath, not in anger, but in quiet certainty. What's falling isn't random. It's calculated. The Lyrids aren't just cosmic debris, they're symbols of collapse that clears space. Every drop is a clearing, physical, emotional, spiritual. This isn't a breakdown. It's a breakthrough. And no matter how much you try to hold on to what used to bring you safety, you'll sense it slipping. Because it can't come with you. Not where this energy is going. The frequency you're entering doesn't support old density. Relationships built on fear, belief systems built on inherited shame, identities shaped by survival, all of it is reaching expiration. And the expiration doesn't whisper. It falls. You'll want to label it collapse. You'll be tempted to call it loss. But if you pause long enough to feel beyond the immediate discomfort, you'll realize this is the deepest kind of clearing. The kind you didn't know you were allowed to want. The kind that removes what you were afraid to let go of, until something greater moved through and did it for you. If it feels like something sacred just fell apart, you're close. Because sacred things do fall, not to be destroyed, but to be rebuilt without distortion. A version of you that once carried everyone else's expectations, a pattern you kept reenacting because it gave you just enough love to survive, a truth you watered down so others wouldn't reject it, all of that has no place in the timeline you're stepping into. And this energy knows it. That's why it feels like gravity has shifted. Like parts of your life are dropping without permission. You're not being punished. You're being purified. The structures that collapse in this moment are not failures, they are finishes. You're not meant to carry expired roles into awakened timelines. And this frequency is too exact to let you pretend otherwise. So don't panic if things fall out of place. Let them. Don't chase what begins to drift. Don't apologize for the sudden silence between you and someone who used to feel close. Don't try to rescue the belief you outgrew just because it once saved you. Not everything falling is tragedy. Some things fall because you've finally risen high enough to no longer need them. This is the gravity of alignment. The unseen recalibration of your internal world matching the celestial one. And it won't always be poetic. Sometimes it's blunt. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it feels like you just lost a part of yourself, until you realize that what left was never truly you. It was scaffolding. Temporary. Functional. But not eternal. So let the meteor fall. Let the version of you that can't hold this new frequency dissolve. What's left after the falling will be clearer. Lighter. Truer. And that's what this moment has been waiting for all along, the emergence of the version of you that no longer fears collapse, because it understands that in sacred timing, only the false ever shatters. The silence after the fall reveals what's real. When the sky finishes speaking in fire and motion, when the streaks of light vanish beyond the atmosphere, what remains is not noise, it's stillness. Not around you, but inside you. A strange hush settles, not like emptiness, but like something waiting. And if you're listening only with your ears, you'll miss it. This silence doesn't speak out loud. It resonates. Beneath the surface. Beneath the thought. Beneath the persona. It's not the quiet of absence. It's the stillness of clarity. Because after everything has fallen, the illusions, the roles, the beliefs you no longer carry, there's only one thing left to hear, what stayed standing. And it won't be loud. It won't beg for your attention. It will pulse softly, like a thread of truth you almost forgot you had. And in that moment, you'll realize that everything the chaos removed was making it impossible to hear your real frequency. This is the recalibration. The pause between timelines. The breath between lifetimes. And while it may look like nothing's happening, everything is. Silence isn't the absence of activity. It's the space where divine code gets rewritten. You won't always know what's shifting. But you'll feel it. A subtle reordering. A quiet correction. A knowing you didn't have yesterday, but somehow trust today. There was silence in heaven for about half an hour, Revelation 8 verse 1. That line doesn't describe a break in the action. It describes the moment before divine instruction reshapes reality. That silence. That's when the architecture of your soul gets rewritten. When the heavenly alignment pauses, not to rest, but to imprint. To anchor new truth into the gridwork of your being. What you feel in this stillness isn't indecision. It's preparation. If you've done the work, this silence will feel sacred. Like standing barefoot in a cathedral built out of your own becoming. But if you're still running, still clinging, still distracting yourself with motion, this silence might feel threatening. Because it demands presence. It demands that you hear what stayed alive after the storm. And not all of what remains will comfort you. Some truths only emerge once the noise is gone, and some of those truths will ask you to live differently. The hush that follows the Lyrids isn't empty space. It's divine space. A window between what was and what can now be. And in that window, something ancient is written into the marrow of your choices. Not as suggestion. As blueprint. This is where discernment sharpens. Where voices that once dominated your headspace fall quiet, and your own voice, the original one, steps forward without shame. You may feel the world slow down. You may feel less drawn to talk, to explain, to perform. That's not withdrawal. That's resonance. When spirit is speaking, the body tends to go quiet. And in that quiet, what's true gets louder. The pull toward alignment becomes undeniable. You can't unknow it. You can't unfeel it. The silence won't let you. So don't rush to fill it. Don't scramble to make meaning before it settles. Let the hush stretch longer than you're used to. Let it echo. Let it ring through the hollow places you thought needed fixing, and watch as they simply make space for something real to take root. You're not waiting anymore. You're receiving. And the instruction you've been seeking is arriving, not as thunder, but as stillness. Because when everything has fallen, when the dust clears and the sky goes quiet, what remains isn't noise. What remains is truth. And it's been trying to speak through you all along, it just needed the silence to be heard. This is not a spectacle. This is a portal. If you're still looking up at the sky, waiting to be amazed, you've missed the point entirely. The Lyrids aren't here to impress you. They're here to move you, across timelines, across thresholds, across the illusions you've been clinging to for too long. And this portal doesn't open for curiosity. It opens for response. You don't get extra time. You don't get to schedule your transformation. Portals don't wait for certainty. They arrive in moments that seem inconvenient, untimely, emotionally disruptive, and that's the point. They interrupt the patterns that would otherwise keep you circling the same lessons. They don't care if you feel ready. They only care if you'll walk. This portal isn't metaphor. It's motion. And it's happening with or without your full understanding. Because portals don't open for comprehension, they open for movement. They dare you to respond, not to analyze. And that's why this energy feels like pressure. Like you're being pulled without knowing where. Like something in you is bracing for a choice you didn't plan to make, but can't avoid anymore. If you hesitate, you'll feel it. That tightening. That sense that time is bending but not pausing. That whatever you're deciding, or avoiding, carries weight far beyond what's visible. You won't hear a bang. You won't see a sign. But you'll know the moment passed. Not because something dramatic happened, but because something inside you feels further away from alignment, like you missed a door you couldn't see until it was gone. Walk through. Or don't. But understand this, the portal doesn't announce its closing. It just closes. And it does so silently. No countdown. No confirmation. Just the unmistakable feeling that the window is no longer open, and the invitation is no longer alive in the same way. That's why this moment matters. That's why the decision to move, even without clarity, is the only thing that keeps the way forward open. Portals don't close with sound. They close with regret. And regret doesn't scream. It whispers. It shows up days later, when your soul nudges you with the quiet ache of what could have been. It arrives when the life you're still living starts to feel too small for the truth you've already seen. That's the pain of a sealed gate, not punishment, but the echo of a calling unanswered. So if something in you is rising right now, an urge to speak, to leave, to begin again, trust that. Even if the path isn't paved, even if no one claps when you choose it. Portals aren't interested in applause. They're calibrated to authenticity. And if you don't move when the signal hits, you don't just stay where you are, you drift further from the current meant to carry you forward. This isn't just about energy. It's about timing. Cosmic alignment meets personal courage. That's the intersection you're standing in. And every second you spend doubting, negotiating, hesitating, the threshold dims. The longer you wait, the more it fades. Not to punish you, but because that's the nature of portals. They open to accelerate, not to delay. And once it closes, you can't force it open again. You can rebuild. You can heal. But you can't recreate this opening. It was for this version of you, at this point in your life, under this sky. And that's why it matters that you move now. Not because you're fully ready, but because deep down, you already know, the invitation was real. And it won't wait forever. No more waiting. It's falling now. The shift isn't coming, it's already in motion. This isn't the moment to keep watching from the sidelines, hoping for confirmation. The Lyrids aren't just lighting up the sky, they're burning old timelines to ash and imprinting new ones as they fall. If you've been asking for a sign, stop. This is the sign. Not subtle. Not symbolic. Real. Raw. Here. What you're feeling inside, the trembling, the restlessness, the urge to act even when the path isn't clear, that's not anxiety. That's your spirit stretching toward alignment. And this time, don't shrink it. Don't second guess it. Don't package it into silence. You've done enough watching. The portal is open. The choice is live. And action, pure, imperfect, unfiltered action, is the truest form of prayer. Not words. Not waiting. Movement. Forward. Now.